Yay! So I got the coil pack rotifrit out, checked out the instructions, and we're supposed to remove the ICM, which is the ignition control module, from the coil. So you got your power wires right here, black and yellow. Right here should be the ignition control module wire. That's the one that signals the coil to fire. So we got to take all this off, depin some of the wires we don't need on this, and we'll be good to go. Figured I'd start getting the wiring aspect ready since I'm getting pretty close. Let's see. I already took the 2 screws out of the top. Got one here, then the coil slides out. So there's your gear for the pickup. And then another gear back behind there. You see that tang sticking up? That's your other pickup. And then you got the top pickup right here. This little cam. Take the ICM screws out. I already broke them loose, so it'll be easy. We gotta keep the blue wire. That'll be our tax signal. This one right here. And there's your ignition control module. So take the seal out. I'm going to take the cable or the wiring harness pass through. I really don't want to take that sensor out, but I might have to. Hopefully there's not an adjustment on this. We'll have to adjust the air gap on the sensor. And there is. No biggie. So we keep that. So we'll snip those 2 wires. This is the ICM power and the tax signal. Pull these out. Grommet back in. So all this is a magnet. See how it's grabbing to it? So the air gap has to be set on this cam lobe right here. So it's got to be, I think it's about 5 thousandths or something like that away. That's about the normal gap. Put this back on. There's the 2 screws for that. You got this one and this bottom one. So leave it a little loose so we can move it. Swing the camera around. And we'll move it out a little bit. That looks good. Don't know if you can see that, but it's pretty, it's about 5 thousandths there. So all the rest of these wires are for the sensors and the distributor. You got the top dead center, I can't remember all the different ones. It's like a cam and a crank and a top dead center sensor. So we'll fish these ones out. So we'll keep this plug because the one on the wiring harness for the engine, this one is your ignition power, which will get into. This is the coil on plug harness. So I believe on the instructions the yellow is the coil power wire, and then the green is the ICM signal. So the ICM signal, let's see, get our wiring diagram. So right here's the coil. So you got the primary. This is the one that builds up and collapses and causes the secondary to create the spark to the cap right here. So we need to get this wire, the white and blue wire. That'll be our ignition control module pulse for the coil. So this white and blue right here will be cut on this side and spliced into the harness, and then this will be the coil power wire for the coil on plug, and this one will be our tack signal. So we can actually leave that one on. Hit up Joe, told him I need the cover for the damn distributor. He's trying to hold off on it, but whatever, it's only like 50 bucks. Alright, we're good on that now. I was actually wrong. It's not this white-blue wire because, let's see, white-blue on the plug is actually sensor ground. So on the plug, it's going to be right here, yellow-green. That's to the ICM. So that's the wire that we got to tap into, but I'm going to do that later on when I get ready to do the whole wiring harness. So I'll get that bolted in. This is an idea of how it's going to run. It's not set in stone yet, but the only problem I'm running into is with the harness all plugged in. And where's the damn cap?
Oh, you're filming? Oh.
Yeah, with the harness plugged in, I can kind of route it to where it's not going to be in the way of the bolts or anything, and it's not going to be pinched. But when I put the cover on, it tries to pinch the wires. So I'm either going to have to trim this all the way down, all the way across to get it to fit, or come up with another idea. So I'll have a hole down right here, and then I'll figure out the rest of it. So we got a ground right here. This will go on the thermostat housing, and then I'll probably end up cutting this back so it's not all over the place. And this will go through the firewall. So we got, I'll probably cut the ground down too. I don't like excess crap in here. I'd rather just have it cut right in here or so and then grounded. I mean, I got what, another 1.5 feet of wire right there. And then here's the ones for the coil and the tack. So we'll have the harness plug will go in here, and then I'll come off the backside and splice it in. So I'll probably have it cut in here somewhere. That way these wires will go together. Everything will be heat shrinked, and I'm not gonna put that regular convolute tubing on there. That's that harness wrap that's split down the middle with the plastic one. It likes to deteriorate and fall apart over 5 or 10 years. It'll be the nicer stuff. So, got that kind of situated. I put the thermostat housing on there. I'm trying to put all the sensors and anything that has to do with electrical on here. So I got the coolant temp. The other coolant temp is over here for the gauge. I forget what this one is. We'll have the solenoid ran. That's the solenoid wire. We don't need the pressure switch. We don't need the knock sensor. We're not going to be running an IAC valve. Got the map sensor on down here. And then the TPS on the side. Got the air intake sensor on it. Where is it? Right there. I plugged all the ports on the back of the intake manifold. And I have one fitting on the back for the vacuum supply. That's this nipple right here. I'll end up changing that out. I'm thinking about running AN lines just for the larger 1/2 inch line. I put the MAC solenoid plates right here. I also put the clutch master cylinder in. Yeah, I know, I should have showed you guys. I was messing around yesterday, just going at my own pace. I'll put the vacuum block right here. Here's the clutch line. Got it all ran. And it's the hold down right here. I put the hold down clamp on it, and then I cut down a spacer. There's a spacer on the back side to keep it away from the firewall. Did that on the back side too. This one down here. So I don't need this stud. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you see that one. There's a couple of them I don't need. I'll be cutting those off. I'm keeping these on here because the fuel filter is still on the way. I got some parts that made it. That would be the fuel pressure regulator, some other pieces. But I'm still waiting on a fuel rail and fuel filters. I'll be getting the injector dynamics fuel filter from Joe at Locash, so I'm waiting on that. Fuel pumps are still coming. So the fuel system will be the next big install. So you got the lines ran, clearance to everywhere, no rubbing. Let's see, I'm gonna pick that up. Of course not. Anyways, there you go. There's the brake line right here. So we got about an inch or a little below an inch clearance from the battery tray. Run down there through the shock tower. Got the brake line from the the fender well to the caliper. Put the retaining clip on there, so this is all fastened. Did that on the driver's side too. Yeah, I know I should be recording all this crap, but sometimes I get in that mood and just want to go at it. So I'll show you what the max solenoids are going to look like. And I need to put the alternator on at some point. I think that'll be pretty close to all the sensors and wiring that I'm going to need. But I've already been researching it on racespec.com and got an idea of how much all the wiring is going to cost me. Because I want to do this legit. And I like wiring, it's my specialty. I'll show you this. Might as well start from scratch. Alright, so these holes are already tapped. They're factory bolts. Is that one? Yeah, that one is a threaded hole. So what I came up with is I'm going to put one up here. Put the other one down here. Now these are threaded on one side for the max solenoid hold down. So you'll understand why these are offset instead of right next to each other, which I could do, but they'll be hitting each other. So these are 3-port. 1 port. 2 ports right here, and the 3rd port on the top, which is the vent. So me looking at this means it's a normally open switch. So It appears that number 2 will be source, 3 is filter going into the atmosphere, and then 1 will be the boost control going to, I think, the top of the gate. That's the way it looks to me, but I'm gonna have to do some research and see what it is. So you got number 3 right there is on the top, which is the vent. Then you got number 2, which should be source. Then number 1 that goes to the wastegate. I'm assuming that's what it is. So I might have to switch these around so that the wastegate side is pointing towards the wastegates. So I'm gonna have a 90 on this side, a straight on this one, and a straight on that one, and then probably a straight on this one. Now I don't know where I'm gonna route it yet, maybe through this hole, and then wrap it around underneath, and then go to the wastegates. I don't know yet. I'll figure that out when I get the hose. And now I'll show you the vacuum block. So that's where the vacuum block's going to be mounted. So I got one side capped off because I'm not running a booster. Let's see. You can kind of see that fitting. That's going to be a 90-degree fitting to that nipple on the backside down here. Let's see. This nipple right here, I'm going to turn that into a 90 so it'll be a straight shot to the block. Then I'm gonna have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes on the bottom. Those are 1/8 inch MPTs. So I'm gonna have all 90s on the back of here, and they're gonna be quick disconnect with the hard rubber vacuum line. So I'll have a 90 on the back here going to the boost gauge that'll be running inside through the firewall. Let's see, the one closest. The second closest will probably run to the fuel pressure regulator, which will be mounted on the firewall somewhere. Let's see, the third one will be running to the boost, to the blow-off valve, which will be on the charge pipe over there somewhere. So I'll run that underneath the intake manifold. And then the 2 on the rear, those will be going to the max solenoids. So now I know what I need for vacuum fittings. I'll have 2 90s coming out of the wastegate, top and bottom. And that'll be it for the vacuum. So, we got a fuel system to do. We got mounting the intercooler with clearance for the dump tubes. Still got to get a radiator. That's about $450 with a slim fan. So hopefully, you know, it might stick out about in here. So I don't know, maybe a little bit further. So that'll put probably right in here, and I'll have enough room with the runner, since it's going to be coated anyways. So that'll give me plenty of room right here for radiator, and then I got to shorten up the catch can lines, bring them closer. I think I showed you guys this before. Take that one off. This one off. So, distributor cap will set out about that far to clear the top of the shaft. So, I'm thinking it'll be about right in there. So that's a couple inches or so I'll have to take off of that one. And then this one will be the most. So probably be right in there. And it's about 4 or so inches. Now if I do it like this, that'll leave me plenty of room to have the up pipe for the turbo, which will be probably about right in here. That'll be about 4 inches. So we're getting closer. Knocking it off. Getting there. Thanks, guys.